Greetings, everybody. It is, what is it, Wednesday, December 22nd, during the trading day, not even 11:30 in the morning, very slow holiday week, not expecting to do a whole lot at this end, even for those of us that may provide liquidity at times, just not a whole lot there. And you'll see me at times here, though, looking at my market screen. I do have offers up if this thing continues to run, and I use that term loosely, for some wholesale shorts. But in the meantime, I thought I would try to use this time productively and at least follow up a little bit on Monday's post, which, while I hoped wouldn't happen, thought might, and in fact did, in terms of, I guess, tearing up some circles of the web already, and certainly resulting in quite a few emails that I guess I still haven't done a good job in trying to reinforce this whole concept of time, and I'm going to try to do it once again via video. As I mentioned in Monday's post, there probably is no other topic throughout these 2.5 years of diary babbling that I've talked about more than the concept of time, because it is just so important. It's such an important concept to understand as a trader. And I can see through the tone of the emails, and I've seen this, since I taught traders 10 years ago, that it's just something that people fail to grip. And there's one email discussion I'm having back and forth with a trader right now, for example, who I respect, but having a significant disagreement with respect to this whole business about daily results, and as should be on page 1 of any Trading 101 elementary book, daily results is completely irrelevant, immaterial, harmful, on and on and on, and it's something that certainly I have preached since I've been in this business, and will continue to preach until at some point the mic is taken away by a higher power, if you know what I mean. But let's talk about it a little bit, because it's one of the most egregious errors, is that the right word, that traders make. And some people make it all their life, and that's the complete irrelevance of short-term results. Yes, this is a business of long-term accumulation over short-term decisions. Short-term decisions. Short-term results is not the same thing as a short-term decision, though. And short-term in this business is absolutely ridiculous. Now, as a Christian, certainly, I have a very different view than some on the concept of time. Time for me is eternal. There's this life and there's the next life, and we're at some point in that scale. And so, you look at that to begin with, and then you look at your life on earth, and even your adult life in terms of in your professional career, and let's just talk about this concept of time once again. You may have a career, as we pointed out in the Smith Jod Rock, for example, that lasts X number of years. And the fact is that by the time, you slice that down to, decades and years and quarters and months and days. I mean, you're getting to a point where when you get to a day, you're essentially, it's like trying to, tell somebody what day of the month it is or what month of the year it is by looking at your watch and seeing what the second hand is doing. You just don't do that, and that's why businesses don't jump up and down about ringing their cash register at the end of every day. If you're running a local hardware store here in the Cape, doesn't matter. You're going to have seasonality. You're going to have things that you're doing outside of your businesses, and all sorts of reasons why you're going to have income streams that are very unlike any salary job or hourly wage job, where it's consistent over time no matter what you do. This is performance-based in a business which is all about time. The ability to purchase time, or the ability to spend time, or the ability to make time stand still. We can do all of that in this business, because many people say time is money, and I'll flip that around every time. I'll say money is time. And that's what I view. Money allows you a resource. It allows you a very valuable resource of time that you can decide to spend however you want, right? You buy time and you spend time, right? You don't buy money and spend money. And whether you choose to use that time productively, charitable causes, family causes, building ethical businesses, building enterprises that help others in the long run, that's what this is about. So anyway, this discussion that we've been having back and forth in this one case on the the insignificance, in my view, of daily data is just, it's such a strong, ingrained belief that I will always have, and yet I see traders, looking at daily P&L, having their daily P&L up in front of them, or getting caught up over a bad month or a bad year, or and it's just as if we've lost perspective in this business and in life. A daily blip, a monthly blip, a quarterly blip, a yearly blip. I mean, you're looking at, if you're looking at this career, for example, this business as a career, let's say even as a second career, you're looking probably at least at 20 years. If it's a full-time career from the day you graduated school, it could be 40 years and beyond, well beyond. And so, this is why fund managers and entities like Barclay Hedge, are putting data out there over a 5-year period, 10-year period, and in the long run, that's all that matters. I've said from day one that 2008, for example, for me was only 1 year, and I mentioned this in my year-end post. A lot of people are getting hung up on that because that happened to be the year during which I launched this blog. But it's only 1 year. It's completely irrelevant compared to other years which haven't been as good over time. Again, by themselves, completely irrelevant. You've got to look at the longer-term picture. And the only reason, and again, I debated long and hard about sharing this, the only reason that I mentioned the 800% return over the last several years is to try to drive this point home. To drive the point home that despite the diary entries, despite the brain cramps and the burnouts and the May 6th and the wonderfully extended streaks, the home run days, the average, I mean, all of that stuff is so immaterial by themselves, completely immaterial. But it's this long-term concept. It's the concept of time and its appropriate time frame. And forgive me if I'm coming across as being sanctimonious or overly preaching this concept, but I preach it because I still see it, despite a year of publicly speaking and 2.5 years of almost daily, in some cases twice a day, babbling, and especially in the context of recent correspondence from someone who I presumably is a half decent trader. That people just don't get it. It's going to hamper their trading and hinder their trading for forever. And so, that's what I'm trying to do, I guess, in continuing to do what I do with the diary. Before I launched the blog in 2008, I had to think long and hard about it as well at that point, because I knew that people might misconstrue a daily diary entry as my own personal diary as well, let's just expand that. Let's multiply that times 365 or by 250 trading days, and that gives us the picture. You just don't do that. You can't take 1 year, any year, and do multiplication in your head and assume that it's always going to be like that. As the time horizon stretches out, though, you can start to make certain conclusions. And again, this is why Barclay, et cetera, and published data looks at, relevant data. It's kind of cute, interesting, maybe if you're playing fantasy trading or fantasy football, to see, what people might be doing on, let's say, a quarterly basis or an annual basis. But beyond that, it's just immaterial. In terms of comparing yourself to other traders, including what I may be doing, folks, be real careful with that, by the way, because people are going to have different trading styles. They're going to have different business plans. They're going to have different times away from the market. And you cannot compare trader A with trader B. You never will be able to. And please don't ever do that with my results in terms of thinking that we're clones. People may use similar methodologies, but there will always be differences in terms of determining when to trade, how big to trade, whether to back off from the markets, whether you're going at it aggressively, what's going on in your personal life. There's so many differences that you can only score yourself against yourself, and perhaps against publicly or publicly available published statistics such as Barclay, such as Futures Magazine, that kind of thing. So just again, the short time frames, folks, And I'll even take that 1 day time frame and slice it into trade sequence snippets. When you really want to talk about complete irrelevance, and you're looking at what's happening on a trade by trade basis, even worse. So again, folks, try to keep this in perspective. Forgive me for overly preaching on this, but until you understand this concept, you will never understand this business. And it'll be kind of like a little cute hobby for you. If that's what you want, fine. I take this business very seriously. And the only reason I've been able to generate the returns I have consistently over a number of years is because this is the way that I approach the business. So for what it's worth, if you want to listen to it, great. If you don't like it, as always, change the channel. Have a wonderful holiday season. I'll probably do another post or two before Christmas. But if I don't see you or if you don't hear from me, have a great, great Christmas. Enjoy the rest of the year, and let's go at it hard. 2011. I'll be doing a webinar for Linda Ratchke's team next Wednesday. I'll provide more info on that shortly. Take care.